Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pharmacypedia. In this session, we are going to learn about the clinical trials and the various phases of clinical trials. If you have still not subscribed to my channel Pharmacypedia, please do like, share and subscribe to Pharmacypedia for getting further updates and important content related to pharmacy. So let us try to understand what are different sorts of the clinical trials and what are the different phases of clinical trials. So when we talk about clinical trials, why do we conduct clinical trials? We conduct the clinical trials in human subjects, in human volunteers, to check for the pharmacological, pharmacodynamic effect and any other investigational requirement to see or check for any of the adverse effects during the investigation and also to understand the pharmacokinetics. By pharmacokinetics, we simply means absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion of any investigational drug. So, the overall objective of conducting the clinical trial is to see that there should be advantage, there should be benefit, the drug use should be efficacious, it should have therapeutic stability, therapeutic efficacy, and therapeutic effect, and it should not cause any of the side effects. Because, like, why do we take the drugs? We take the drugs so that it can treat you, it can have the desired therapeutic action, desired therapeutic effect as compared to the side effects. We know that each and every drug has some or the other side effects, but the point of view is that we conduct clinical trials to ensure that the drug under investigation is having more benefit as compared to the adverse effects, as compared to the side effects, because we can't 100% eliminate the adverse effect and side effect. We have to see how much risk that we can take, and we have to ensure that it is having more therapeutic benefit to undergo the treatment as compared to the adverse effects. So in simple clinical trials, we make ensurety, we assure the drug is having more therapeutic effect, better beneficial actions, more therapeutic efficacy. We observe each and every adverse effect, side effect associated. We actually try to understand the ADME of the drug, absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination of the drug. We understand the pharmacokinetic of the drug. We understand the pharmacodynamics. What is pharmacodynamics? Pharmacodynamics is simply the effect of the drug on human body, how much efficacious the drug is. Now, talking about the different phases, overall, all the phases comprises of four types: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4. But before moving on to the phase 1, there is a phase 0. Phase 0 is nothing whereby we do have certain sort of the assessments about the drug. We understand the pharmacokinetic of the drug. This is also known as the microdosing phase. So, like, phase 1 is actually tested drugs on the healthy individuals. We are going to check the efficacy of the drug. So we need to have both the types of the volunteers. First are the healthy volunteers, and third are the affected. Second is the affected, or like you can the patients suffering from that specific disease, for which we are actually claiming the drug action. So in phase 1 and 2, we take the healthy individuals, and like in phase 3 and 4, we actually take the affected people. So like phase 1 is to ensure the test for the safety and the dosage and side effects, whereas for the phase 2 and phase 3, we are also assessing for the long term effectiveness and other comparative analysis. Now, after phase 3, the company can market the drug goes into public domain. But phase 4 is post marketing surveillance, whereby we do regularly check the efficacy of the drug once it is in the market. So hereby you can see the number of the volunteers which are being required at each of the phase. So if you see the passing criteria, the successful criteria, only 16 out of every 100 drugs which enters the phase 1 will actually go to the market. So you can understand how critical these phases are. For example, the phase 1 basically targets for the safety purpose. Phase 2 is for efficacy. Phase 3, we are testing the same thing after phase 2, but on a larger number of the people. Then the product goes into the market. Then phase 4 is about the post marketing. So it is the real life patients. So phase 1 basically is being conducted for 20 to 100 volunteers. Phase 2, always remember the number of participants, the number of subjects. So phase 2 is for the 100 to 500 patients. Phase 3 is for 1000 to 5000 patients, and phase 4 it is when it is really into the market. So first talking about the phase zero. Phase zero, as I have told, also known as the micro dosing studies, or you sometimes also known as the preclinical assessment. So it is basically the explorative stage. It is first in human trials which needs to be conducted according to the FDA as per the guidelines of 2006 guidelines on exploratory investigational new drug investigation. So here we basically focus on the drug safety. We assess the pharmacokinetic properties. How much is the drug absorbed? What is the absorption rate? To what organs it is being distributed? What is the metabolism rate? And how it is excreted out of the body? Now talking about the distinctive feature of phase zero. So phase zero, as I've suggested, basically targets the pharmacokinetic properties. It focuses on the bioavailability and the half-life of the drug. Simply means how much amount of the drug will be actually absorbed into the system, actually goes into the systemic circulation, and also about what is the stay period of the drug in the body. So like we conduct the phase zero, or you can say initial studies, on maximum 10 to 15 volunteers. So it provides data on the safety as well as efficacy. But since it is on very less number of people, so like you cannot proclaim the effect. For that, you need to conduct the study on the larger scale. That is why in phase three, we do conduct it in the affected individuals at a larger scale. So again, phase zero clinical trials are not mandatory. They are case to case basis. Now coming to the phase one. So phase one, as you can see, it is the first stage. So like it is being, always remember, it is being conducted on the healthy volunteers. Regarding the number of 20 to 100 participants are there, you have to take the informed consent from each of the participants, and that is the reason why like some people may even skip off. So like you have to see the versatility of the studies. You also have to understand and do several studies, including the dose ranging studies, also called the dose escalation studies, so that the best and the safest dose can be found. So in phase one, basically we understand the dosing regimen. What is the minimum dose? What is the maximum dose? How far? What is the actual dose that needs to be decided of at this moment, so that the toxicity can be avoided. And it is the point to discover the point at which a compound is too poisonous or too administer. So you can say in a nutshell, here we are actually deriving the safety of the drug. We are deriving the correct dose of the drug, how it has to be administered, what is the minimum dose at which it will be have the therapeutic action, what is the maximum dose above which you should not go, so that the toxic effects can be avoided. So the dosage regimen is being decided at the phase 1. Then further, we also assess the safety, tolerability, and the pharmacokinetic and dynamic properties of the drug. So these are often conducted in an inpatient clinics, where the subjects can be observed by the full-time staff. So the tested range of doses will usually be a fraction of the dose that causes harm in the animal testing. So volunteers are paid the inconvenience fee for their time spent in the volunteers, and so you can see that there are informed consent. And since the participants are less, so it is having more control over the studies. Coming to the phase 2. So once you have determined the dose in the phase 1, the next part is to check the efficacy. Now the efficacy, you can see the number of participants are being larger in the phase 2. So whereas in phase 1 we were having 20 to 80%, 20 to 100 participants, the participants range here ranges from 100 to 300. So the study is at a larger level, and it continues to determine the safety and efficacy of the drug, to how much extent it is safe. Because the clinical trial, the main purpose of conducting the clinical trial is to ensure that the drugs is having proper therapeutic effect, it has no major adverse effect, it has no major side effects, and the drug is having total efficacy for the treatment, so that the patient can benefit out of the drug. Now talking about the phase 2, again it is being divided into two types, phase 2A and 2B. So like in the sequence, the phase 2A is more concerned with the proof of the concepts, pilot trials. The patients here by resistance ranges from 100 to 300, therapeutic efficacy. Then against the types of the study, it may range from single blind parallel group, dose response and dose range for phase 2B. So you can say in a nutshell that the primary goal is to determine the therapeutic efficacy in phase 2A. Apart from that, talking technically, you try to get the dose response determination along with the dose regimen and determination of the target population. The trials are designed based on depending on the type, like single or double blinds. And you also study the dose escalation studies along with the parallel dose response. Other features of the phase 2, after 2A comes the 2B. So 2B is basically focused to understand, to decide, and to study the efficacy, how well the drug works at the prescribed dose. Then apart from this, there are like the objective is to have design the type of the study, like blinding studies or placebo studies or other concurrent control studies, or even the crossover studies. So you can refer my earlier video on the like different types of the research studies for getting further updates. Apart from that, this study is at larger scale, or also you can say multicentric studies. The subjects are similar to phase 2A, and it is being conducted at multiple sites. So it is at a larger level. If you see the difference between 2A and 2B, 2A is basically designed to assess the dosing requirements. How much drug should be given out, exact dose, whereas 2B focuses on how well the drug is being absorbed. Then next moving to the phase 3. Phase 3 are basically the randomized control multicentric trials. So again, they are on the affected people. Talking about the number of people, it ranges from, in phase 2 it was 100 to 300. Now it goes from 300 to 3000 people. So depending upon the disease, depending upon the medical conditions, the studies basically aim to being a definitive assessment of how effective the drug is in comparison with the current gold standard treatment. So whatever prescribed treatment is there, over that, how much this investigational drug in this current dosage form is getting effect. So like there is some comparative sort of the assessment, since like phase 3 is again divided into 3A and 3B phases. So like if you were in phase 2 also, it was 2A and 2B. Similarly, the trials here are also divided into two types, 3A and 3B. The differences you can spot out here easily. So phase 3 trials are carried on large number of people. They have to follow the regulatory requirements for NDA, new drug application, and they generate the data on the safety and efficacy issues. Whereas you can say 3B are the further extensions. So again, they are the extended trials, and they are being conducted once 3 year studies are being over. So after application of the approval, but before the launch. They are also short known as the label expansion studies to show the drug works for the additional type of the patients or the disease beyond the original use of the drug was approved for marketing. So if a drug is having more than two functions, so other studies are being conducted to prove the therapeutic efficacy, because any drug may be having more than one main action. So these may supplement or complete the earlier trials, or may be directed to directly phase 4 studies. So they are being carried out on the affected people. Then talking about the phase 3A studies, so you can see the subject level is very large. Trials are maybe either single or the double blinded, multicentric approaches there. You have different formulations, different forms which are being tested out. Apart from that, you also carry out the pharmacoeconomic evaluation. Pharmacoeconomic evaluation simply means that you are comparing it with the other studies and trying to understand what would be the cost of treatment for undertaking this sort of the investigational drug. Then 3B actually is the expansion of 3A part, and it continues to follow the regulatory submission expanding at the appropriate regulatory agency. So like I told you, if a drug is having more than one action, in that case other supplementary studies are being conducted at phase 3B. So this allows patient to continue to receive possibly life-saving drugs until the drug can be obtained as such. Coming to the phase 4, so I told you after phase 3 the drug can go into the market. That is, if it is being found to fulfill all the criteria, if it is being found the drug is safe, the drug is efficacious as compared to the previous treatments which are being available, so the drug can get the desired approval. And once they get the approval, the drug can go into the market, into the real life patients. So once it is into the market, it is known as the post marketing surveillance. So whatever studies are being conducted once the drug has been in the market is known as post marketing surveillance. So phase 4 trials are basically done to have the safety surveillance, also known as pharmacovigilance, and the ongoing technical support of the drug after it receives permission to be sold out. The safety surveillance is actually designed to detect any sort of the rare or long-term adverse effect which may not have been reported earlier during the clinical trial. It sometimes happens there are drugs whereby you will have only one patient out of 20,000 people. So like rarest effects can be observed once the drug is into the market. So harmful effects, if any, however, discovered into the phase 4 trials may result in a drug being no longer sold. So if any of the rare side effect is being noticed out, the drug can even have to be retrieved from the market or restricted for some specific use. So, by this, I would like to conclude that clinical trials have different phases, have different stages. The overall purpose of conducting the clinical trials is to establish that the drug is having desired safety, desired therapeutic efficacy as compared to the previous treatment available. And if everything goes well, then the drug may get the approval from the regulatory agency and it can be sold into the market. But once also into the market, like they have to face for the post-marketing surveillance. So post-marketing surveillance, it notices any of the rare side adverse effects or side effects which may come out. If no side effect, the drug continue to persist into the market. If any of the major adverse effect of the or the side effect which may have not been noticed during earlier clinical trials, that then it has to like being considered for its safety and efficacy again. So there are no set of the rules that needs to be followed. Drugs are always developed in several different phases to meet the multiple objectives in the safest, most efficient manner, and phase is only a description and not the set of the rules. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please do like, share, and subscribe to Pharmacypedia for getting important updates and content related to pharmacy. Thank you so much.